It's always easier to talk than it is to listen. That is particularly true when it comes to politics and public lands. An official stands at a podium dictating what will happen and who will do what. It's entirely foreign for that same official to instead ask the audience what they think the government should do. But that is exactly what is happening with the America's Great Outdoors initiative established by the President to develop a conservation agenda for the country's open space. On August 3rd, one of these listening sessions was held in downtown Salt Lake City to discuss the oftentimes heated issues associated with public lands in the West. In attendance were Utah's governor, the national director of the Bureau of Land Management, Secretary of the Interior Ken Salazar, and an auditorium full of citizens wanting to have their voices heard.
If Secretary Salazar is a man of his word, and I think he is, it was a very, very productive session.
We spent all yesterday making this chalk mural to invite him to the America Great Outdoors listening session today, and all these youth want to see, feedback and see that the government is supporting us and that we're supporting the government. This is a whole collaboration to get youth back into the outdoors.
It was great to get the ear of the administration and see so many different people out and about and speaking their point.
Brian Hawthorne, Public Lands Director of the Blue Ribbon Coalition, while pleased to be able to speak with government officials regarding off-highway trails and public lands, still found reasons to be hesitant before claiming the initiative a success.
You can't expect the off-highway vehicle community to be represented when you have a meeting at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. The meeting raised concerns, in my mind, about what the ultimate objective of America's Great Outdoor Initiative. What is it that this will ultimately result in?
Those results are on the minds of other attendees as well. Ray Peterson, the Emery County Public Lands Coordinator, wants to make sure that management decisions remain local.
Some of the concern we had and we still do is this going to be ground up stuff? Rather than Washington dictating. We just went through planning processes with resource management plans. What are we going to do now? Is this going to supersede that?
He isn't the only one with these fears. According to Mark Ward of the Utah Association of Counties, the very act of superseding may actually be in violation of the Federal Lands Policy and Management Act. BLM National Director Bob Abbey understands these worries, but has committed his organization to working through the problems.
These are long-standing issues. We're adults. We ought to be able to figure it out. And so we're very optimistic about this pilot project. And there's going to be some things that we learn along the way. And as we learn those lessons, we'll apply it to hopefully future efforts in some of these other counties.
Even with the understandable hesitancy of some, for the most part, participants in the listening session were hopeful, giving the federal government the benefit of the doubt that they will in fact engage the local stakeholders, truly listen to groups from whom they have not traditionally heard, and that massive land closures are not job one for the BLM. Only time will tell. Several other sessions are currently planned on the East Coast through the end of August.
I think they're very serious. I think they want to do something good. I'm not sure they understand the complexities of it, nor am I sure the whole basis of taking this information back to Washington, having it decided at high levels, and then sent back is the proper way to do it.
Well, one thing that I'd like to see come from this process, and that's more of an open door policy with Washington, D.C., so that when county officials have problems with energy and so forth on public lands, or even the right to use ATVs on public roads that's been there for years, we can just call rather than fight tax dollars with tax dollars and work through the solution so we come to a positive solution for the American people.
There's room to do all of that. I think it's a balancing act, no doubt. But what I think we do not have room for is the single use and those that want to totally close off public lands and want to have it for a single purpose.
Compromise is always possible. If you just think about how you compromise in your everyday life, I think it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen soon.
We need to meet face to face in order to see eye to eye. We want everyone at the table. We're going to work through these issues to the best of our abilities. I'm optimistic that we'll be able to address many of these issues.
From the Trailhead, I'm Bob Hendricks for AYL.